Redditors who have mistakenly walked in on people having sex. What's your story? I did pest control while in college, and for the apartments I sprayed I had a master key. The deal was that, after knocking for a minute, if no one came to the door then I went in and announced my presence just in case. Then I would spray, leave a card and lock back up. So I knock, no answer. I open the door. From the doorway I could see clear through into the bedroom and I could see the edge of the bed sticking out. What I saw were two giant trunks of legs hanging off the edge of the bed, bouncing, with a mostly naked woman riding on top. The woman screamed. I immediately slammed the door and took off to the next apartment. Never saw them again, thankfully. Side story. A month later in a neighboring apartment, I came across a guy beating on the door. He looked frustrated and he claimed his girlfriend lived there but wasn't answering the door. I told him I couldn't let him in, but I'd let him know if I heard the shower running or something while I was in there. I figured she just couldn't hear him. So I opened the door, again able to see clear through to the bedroom, and I can see the girl and a different guy curled up on the bed together. They were clothed, but she clearly got up panicked. I told her the first guy was outside, like she didn't already know. They got into a screaming match while I sprayed the apartment. I just kind of shot a gym face at the guy on the bed and got the hell out of there. I threw a house party and put a sign on my bedroom saying off limits. A friend told me he heard someone in my room, so I entered and saw the prom queen riding a buddy of mine. I quickly exited the room. Later that night he came up to me and said, "I'm sorry about having sex in your bed, but at least you got to see Alex naked. We cool." And we shook hands and never spoke of it again. Walked in on my buddy's girlfriend walking back to her room from the bathroom naked while he was putting pants on. He told me to come in because he thought she was getting dressed in the restroom, but she had left some clothes, I guess. I just remember my thought process being, that's a butt. Boy, is it red. Oh my god, that's Linda's butt. After they shut the door and got dressed, she came out and teased me, saying my face was more red than her butt. I've never been more embarrassed in my life. Edit. Bad grammar. Also, not her real name. She heard the door when I opened it and ran into their bedroom. The damage was done, and instead of hiding, she joked about it to make it less awkward. Let me set the scene. August 19th, 2017. I had just flown from a week in Cancun back to Australia. 24 hours later my housemates were having their engagement party in our backyard. I escaped the chaos ensuing outside and walked into our other housemate's room to see what he was up to. I'd be lying if I said I didn't walk in on a 6-foot white man absolutely smashing a slight Asian male in upside down missionary position. I casually shut the door and returned to the chaos outside, where they proceeded to embrace me 5 minutes later. What a time to be alive. I was young and naive, and my older brother was quietly having sex with his girlfriend at our parents' house. I went to call them for dinner and opened the door. Neither of our rooms had locks. Thankfully they were under the covers and I immediately left, but my brother followed and slapped me round the head. I walked in on my roommate and his girlfriend in college. I think one of my classes was cancelled because it was the week before finals. As I opened the door they both yelled and no, and I just saw my roommate's ass trying to shield himself and his girlfriend. I let out an insanely over the top laugh then left. About 5 minutes later he walked into our friend's dorm that I went to hang out in, and he said we only had to make it one more week without this happening. Good times. My house was the place everyone hung out when we were like 18 to 20. Walked out of my room to grab a box of tissues to clean up after myself and my GF, and walked into my friend and my GF's friend on the lounge. Laughed, grabbed the tissues, went back to bed. Thought we were going to bundle in on my mates asleep, 2 of us wrapped in towels thinking how funny it will be. We kick in the door and burst in. Turns out him and his boyfriend were full on naked, noshing away everything on show. We turn to run, but my mate gets out the door first and closes it behind him. I slam into the door face first, towel slips over my eyes and I can't get out. I was scrambling at that door for a good 30 seconds whilst the couple shout abuse at me. 30 seconds can be a long time. Freshman year of college, everyone on our floor was friendly, and we had an open door policy, so we would often walk into each other's rooms to do things like ask if people wanted to go to the dining hall together or get a group together to play soccer. So, one day, one of my friends was under the weather with a cold. I thought on my way out the door to the dining hall I'd stop in his room and ask if he wanted me to bring him back some chicken soup. Little did I know his girlfriend had driven 4 hours to come surprise visit him because he was sick. I barge into his room as I always did, and the first thing I see is this girl on top of him, topless. So I did the only sensible thing. I asked if she wanted chicken soup too. 4 years later we're all still friends. Not as close as we were freshman year, but that's what happens over time. Walked in on my female flatmate having a 2-guy threesway, and not like the 3 ways you seen in porn where one's at the mouth the other is behind. It was like a sandwich. There was a dude on his back, my flatmate laying on top of him, and then the last guy was kinda lurched over the whole affair with his feet on the ground, but his torso on her back. We never discussed it, but it was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen happen, and actually put me off starting a relationship with her when the opportunity came up. So it's Halloween, and I'm 18 or 19 partying with my friends. A few friends were visiting from a different city and had a hotel room that we all ended up going back to. It was 4 girls and one of the girls' boyfriend. I had already thrown up outside of the hotel in the bushes, but I knew I'd have to do it again. We get all settled and some of the other girls are playing a card game whilst I had the spins. I remember jumping up and running to the bathroom. I opened the door and my friend's roommate was having sex with her boyfriend in the shower. I shut the door fast and say sorry, but I still had to vomit. So I was like, guys, get out. They told me to come back in. Me being drunk thought, okay, they are going to leave. Nope. They just closed the shower curtain. So I listened to them having sex while they got it onto the sounds of my puke. Not my story but a friend's. He and his girlfriend were doing the deed, and for whatever reason they had ended up in his parents' room. Well, they heard people coming up the stairs, so they hurriedly grabbed all their clothes and hid in the closet. His parents come in and get it on themselves. My buddy and his girlfriend had to sit naked in the closet trying to be as quiet as possible listening to his parents having sex. Was at a hostel, woke up really late at night, 2 to 3 am, and heard some distinctive turkey slapping in the showers. Walked down the aisles of showers to figure out the sound, as only after the fact did I realize it was turkey slapping sounds. And just in this little notches 3 dudes, one beating a bloke's cheeks red with his penis, one jerking off in the corner with the other's cock in his mouth. When I was little my dad and stepmom and I would always go to the beach. We wouldn't go to a hotel, but rent rooms of a house. I always assumed that the woman owning it was part of my family. Fast forward to a morning where I couldn't find my stepmom and started searching the house. Little me opens random door screaming, "Have you seen my mommy?" I didn't get until later what those 2 other guests were doing, but their faces were so priceless. I still can picture their shocked faces in my head. Edit, because it wasn't clear that 2 people were other guests. Not me but my friend. They were making cookies in our dorm, and he remembered he has a half gallon of milk in his room. Milk goes well with cookies, so he goes to get it. Without thinking he opens the door to his room, and at about the halfway point between the door and his mini fridge, he just stops. He looks over and sees his roommate on top of a girl, very obviously having sex. He looks at them and the fridge, which was like 3 feet away, and says, "Just getting the milk." He walks over, grabs the milk out of the fridge and leaves. Freshman year of college. My roommate's friend was in our dorm room, and I was leaving for work. I was pretty confident they were planning on having sex once I left. Got downstairs, room was on the 4th floor, and realized I had left my work shirt back in the room, and went back up to get it. I couldn't have been gone for more than a couple of minutes and regrettably did not knock beforehand. Opened the door to see they had wasted 0 time in getting it on. There was about a 2-second delay where no one said anything. I grabbed my shirt, said have fun, and bolted out of there. One other thing, my roommate had recently come out to me. I was flattered, but had only knew him a couple of months at that point, and I think that just made everything a bit more uncomfortable than a situation like that could already be. Had been sleeping on a friend's couch after a party. I was very drunk and had to pee in the middle of the night, and the nearest bathroom was through the room next to me. So I stumbled in on two people I didn't know very well, but instead of doing the normal person thing of just leaving, I gave the guy a big ol' German finger guns and walked backwards out. Went back to sleep, woke up 30ish minutes later completely forgetting this happened. Realized hey I need to pee, walked in the same room again completely shocked. So I smiled again, gave him a thumbs up, and shuffled backwards out. Went to the other bathroom, fell asleep and forgot again. Found out about this story the next morning by the guy, who thankfully thought the situation was funny. Edit. I pieced the story back together from what he said. He more jogged my memory, as all I could remember was really having to pee. TLDR, I'm a very supportive and forgetful drunk.